Okay, I cannot record that long of a video, so I have to keep pausing it. But I wanted to show you, this is the one that I painted before this, and see how you can see that circle underneath, and I didn't like it. Another thing is, see how I left the gray? I've decided I wanted to go ahead and come back in and go right up against it. The nice thing is if you get a little bit of white here, that's okay because you're going to be covering with the blue. So we've turned the canvas around. Now you're going to take, and if at any time, now you're going to take your round brush, but if any time, if you want to use a smaller one, that's fine. If you're whatever brush you're comfortable with, I want you to use what you're comfortable with. So I have the blue and I've turned my plate around so I'm ready to go, and I have my round brush. Now we talked about being careful with the canvases, not pressing down hard on them. We wanted to work on our center and then work our way out. So I'm going to get this wet, get this paint, get some paint on there. You don't have to get it wet first, sorry. So just a little bit, once again, less is more. And I very carefully, I've kind of had my hand on here as a guide, and you can turn this around a little bit if you need to. And you are going to outline your snowman. So you're going to come right up against that line there and just do your best. Like I said, this is your creation. Now with the blue, what I was talking about is you're going to see those tiny little squares because it's made of material. So you can go back in and do another coat. I'm just trying to show you the basics of this. So I'm going right around and I'm outlining my snowman. And then we're going to come back in and we're going to fill the sky. And if you notice, this blue is a little different. When I went to go get the paints, they didn't have the darker blue. So that's why we have the lighter blue. And I like this lighter blue. And I go right up close to it as I can. And if you leave a little bit of white here, you're not going to be able to tell. That's the beauty of this snowman and the canvas. So you decide, get it as best you can. Don't have clumpy paint. We talked about that. And then we're going to start with, and you could actually start over here if you wanted to, but I kind of like getting the snowman first. And I'm going to go right up against this curved line that I have. And here we go. I've got my hand on the edge. Be aware of that snowman. If you need to turn a little bit, you can, because you don't want to put your hand in that wet paint, okay? Some of you maybe have used canvases to paint before. This is an awesome way to add art to your child's bedroom. You can do anything you want on canvases. You don't have to just paint them. So once again, we're going right up against that background line of the snow. And then we're going to change brushes. And that's all I use, that little bit of blue. So I come back in here, and you can help your child get their paintbrush ready and clean it for them. Please remember, don't leave those paintbrushes in the water. It's the worst thing for your paintbrush because it's hard on that barrel. So I reshape it and I set it aside and I get my flat brush. Now I'm going to go from left to right because I don't want to put my hand in the wet paint. I don't have a lot of paint. And we talked about not leaving a clump of paint going in one. You try to have longer strokes with your paint. Don't leave up that. It just looks better. And don't leave it clumpy. And you're going to brush over, and you don't want to see those little squares. You don't want to leave your clumps. You're going to be the judge of it. And I'm going all the way across. And when we get done with the background, then we'll go back in and do the side of it. These canvases are nice because you do not have to frame them. They're already stretched over the wood, and you can just hang it. So nice. Like I said, you want them even. And fill it in. Just keep going back and forth, but don't have it clumpy. If you want to use the back side of your brush, see how I turned my paintbrush over? You can do that too. And I'm just using the edge of that paint. Now, when you get to this point, if you want to bring your brush in here, so then you will be careful and not get your paint into your snowman, okay? You want to be aware of that snowman. So we don't want to get him filled in with the blue. So that's why it's nice to have the outline. Then I can go right up against it. Make sure it's not clumpy. Now see how I've left the white space there? Okay, that's why I'm going to keep filling that in. And if you go on the edge, that's okay. See, I've got a little bit on the edge because we're going to paint that after we're done with this. So I'm just coming in, filling in. So, And the reason, I don't know if your child has told you this or not, we do an Artist of the Month, and we our projects are centered around the Artist of the Month, and we watch videos and they get to sketch. And a lot of my teaching is done with, it's called an inner flip of your classroom, because I have the videos already made of me teaching the lesson and they watch them, and it's nice because the lesson is consistent. They pay attention better. And it just helps because they can all see it and hear it better, and I can pause it. So now I kind of come back in and make sure it looks okay. And you can do a second coat, but what we're going to do, because this is still wet, you don't want to keep painting over something that's wet because you will never get the paint to stay. Now, you have a choice. You can leave this white, okay, or you can just, and that's up to you. I'm going to come in. If you think you have a steady hand and you won't get blue on the bottom, go ahead. I'm going to just, I would suggest this though, because like I said, it's that white. And if you wanted to paint white all the way up against that background, go back in and paint it, you can. Or you can just leave it blank because gesso is treated. So I'm turning this, and you do kind of have to lift it. I don't know. Well, I'm lifting it so you can see it. You could, let me see if I can set it here, because I'm trying to make sure you guys can see it. If it's setting here, you should be fine. But like I said, I'm lifting it so you can see it. So you do it as best you can. Now, what I was talking about is I wouldn't paint this. I would leave it white. So there is my canvas. Now, that's when you would come back in. You could have a snack, come back, paint some more blue, or wait till the end. Now see how I actually have more blue on my paintbrush? I would put that on the edge if I want to save it. Clean my paintbrush. Now this is when we would take a snack break, because you want all of this to be dry before you come back in and you add your detail. Now this I can already touch. That background is dry, ready to go. So I'm going to have to pause this video again because see where it's wet there? The first thing that we're going to do is to paint the hat. And I want you to remember at this time, if you want to go back to the back, or I might have them on your table already, I haven't decided, this is your accessory sheet. I will teach you, like I said, how to do the basics. So I've got all my paintbrushes clean. After your paintbrushes are clean, then you can go have cookies and a snack, cookies and punch, and then grab one of these sheets, and then when you come back, we will add the detail. But what I want you to look at this before we stop is I'm going to teach you how to do the hat. And I have a basic nose and the eyes. Now, if you don't want to do a hat, and you want to, if you want to do a sock cap, you can do that. If you want to put mittens on, you can. If you don't want to put mittens on, if you want to put a tie. So that's totally up to you. That's what these accessories are for. So I'm going to pause the video and wait for this to dry, and then we will come back and start again.